Today, I am going to talk about the Anunnaki beings in Sumerian civilization. You know, a lot of persons have been asking, especially in this part of the world, Africa, Nigeria, Ghana, okay, they are asking about the concise origin of the Anunnaki story. You know, this part of the world is mostly religious, and their mindset is being directed and projected to believe in the Quran and in the Bible. So any other story aside these holy books will be declared heresy. You see, the Anunnaki are a group of beings who descended and created the human race and its civilization. But before that, we should bear it in mind that every civilization that have existed on earth have their mythology. Most of these civilizations talked about some extraterrestrial beings or forces coming from above to earth to mingle with human beings. The Judeo-Christian religion talked about angels coming from heaven to mingle with earthly humans. Religious texts, religious scriptures mentioned about giants, mentioned giants who are the children of angels. The records are there. If you look at the book of Enoch, if you can have access to the book of Enoch, there is the mention of Nephilims who brought tribulations to humans, that is giants. Archaeological research have shown ancient men and their mysterious drawings on walls about supernatural beings performing extraordinary powers. The Sumerian civilization and mythology is for the people of Sumeria in Mesopotamia. Africans have their own myths and civilization, and the zenith of the African civilization is found in Egypt, which is the Egyptian civilization and mythology. What I mean is that Egypt is the final stage of what is today known as the African civilization, and the African civilization preceded the Sumerians. Now, in the year 1849, some British archaeologists discovered 14 tablets in a cuneiform writing, and this writing system is for the people of the Sumeria. The stories found in these tablets are the mythologies of the Sumerians in Mesopotamia, which is present-day Iraq. According to the Sumerian tablets that were discovered, for over 450,000 years, creator gods, as they were called in the Sumerian tablets, creator gods came to earth from a distant planet to mine gold on earth in order to save their planet from a natural disaster. Gold was the only solution to save the planet of these beings. The only inhabitants of earth when the Anunnaki came were wild and undomesticated animals. That is, there was no human being on earth except wild animals. These beings, that is the Anunnaki, they are so supernatural according to the Sumerian tablets. And the word Anunnaki simply means those who came from heaven to earth. Now, Nibiru is the planet where these beings came from. And when they arrived at earth, they built a mining settlement, which they named Erudok, which is present-day Iraq. The settlement was under the great leadership of one of the Anunnaki beings. He is referred to as Enki. Now, these beings never came alone. They did not come to earth alone. This is what I want you to understand. They came to earth with a group of inferior beings. That is, they came to earth with beings that are below them. These inferior beings are named the Igigi, and the Igigi were considered as slaves to serve the Anunnaki by mining their gold. The Sumerian tablets stated that the workload of the Anunnaki was so laborious for the Igigi. The Igigi were consistently put to work with hard labor, and they were maltreated. Now, after hundreds of years of slavery and exploitation, the Igigi could not continue to bear the brutality of their superiors, that is the Anunnaki. The only option they had was to rebel. the Igigi rebelled against their masters, the Anunnakis. It is believed that this was the first revolution on earth. The Sumerian tablets stated that the Igigi were wiped out from the surface of the earth. They were crushed by the Anunnaki. Now the Anunnaki were unable to have a new workforce to mine gold, since they have eliminated and exterminated the race of the Igigi. Now in Nibiru, the planet of the Anunnaki, a being known as Anu, A-N-U, was the chief being of all the Anunnaki. He was the leader and father of the Anunnaki. Anu was supreme in Nibiru. He was the one who ordered his son Enki to genetically create a new workforce that is intelligent enough to perform complex work, and at the same time will be totally submissive, will be totally orderly and loyal to the Anunnaki. The experiment of Enki to create a new workforce, a new race of workforce, did not bring positive results at first. This wrong experiment produced strange creatures. There were many experiments, but all failed. The last experiment was a genetic inbreed between Earth Homo erectus, that is apes on Earth. Apes on Earth were called Homo erectus, and the Anunnaki themselves. Now, what I am saying is that the Anunnaki being headed by Enki added their essence, that is their gene, in Homo erectus, that is earthly apes, to create a new workforce. The result of this final experiment led to the creation of Homo sapiens sapiens, which in the Sumerian tablets it is called the Adamu, meaning the first man. In the Bible, Adam in Hebrew simply means man. Humans, that is human beings, which are the Homo sapiens, were immediately put to work to mine gold for the Anunnaki. The humans became the new workforce, a new slave race different from the Igigi. The Sumerian tablets pointed out that these humans were living more than 700 years on Earth. Human beings were living more than 700 years on Earth. This was how the Anunnaki created humans. Humans can live up to 700 years because this was what the Anunnaki implanted in humans. But Enlil, the younger brother to Enki, was the one who shortened the life longevity of human beings. Humans were taught how to create, to build, and to farm to eat. They were very smart and intelligent. Their downfall started when they built high structures, high infrastructures that are very massive. Enlil felt that they are becoming too intelligent and informed. He genetically reduced the lifespan of all human beings on Earth. Humans were created for the purpose of serving the Anunnaki and not to frighten or challenge the Anunnaki. The Anunnaki implanted in humans the seed to always worship and work for the Anunnaki. The Anunnaki were giants while humans were beneath their feet. Humans were the workforce that were genetically created from ape, from Homo erectus. Now, since the major purpose of humans' existence is to work and worship the Anunnaki, humans were educated on agriculture, on art, science, and architecture. In fact, even in engineering, they were educated by the first teacher, and that teacher is Enki. Enki loved humans with passion. He loved humans so much that he did everything to save the world from the deluge. The deluge was the great flood that wiped out the human race except for one family. This was the story, or this story was the first recorded story in the world in the Sumerian tablets before it was copied as the story of Noah and the flood in the Bible. And we will soon come to this. Now, the Sumerian tablets stated that the Anunnaki started demanding for more gold, and the human population was not up to the task. Enki re-engineered humans. He re-engineered the human race to have the capabilities and the ability to reproduce and procreate. Man and woman started having the desire for intimacy. They started having the desire to produce, to derive pleasure, intimate pleasure. And this was the beginning. This was the starting point for pregnancy and childbirth in the human race. Humans started having children, which added to the human workforce to produce more gold for the Anunnaki. The intimacy of humans led to overpopulation of the human race. The human population increased, which resulted to banishment. It was from here they copied to write the biblical story of the Garden of Eden and banishment from paradise. Go and read your Bible. Compare it with the Anunnaki story. The stories in the Bible are 6,000 years old. That is the Old Testament, according to Hebrew fairy tales and mythology. While that of Christianity, that is the New Testament, is 2,000 years old. Just 2,000 years old. Now, as humans became more intelligent, some of the Anunnaki beings started having intimacy with earthly women. This intimacy between the Anunnaki beings, some of the Anunnaki beings and earthly women, produce the Nephilims. And the Nephilims are the giants. These giants committed terrible and uncountable atrocities. It angered the Anunnaki beings in Nibiru. Enlil became suspicious of humans and feared that the human race might rule Nibiru one day. He was frightened by the overpopulation of the human race and their intelligence. The only way to wipe out the Nephilims causing atrocities on earth was only through the deluge, which means the great flood. The Anunnaki destroyed the earth and all its inhabitants. Now, before the flood, Enki felt pity for humans. He never supported the rest of the Anunnaki on the decision to wipe out the human race with a flood. Enki called his faithful disciple, Zauzudra, and his family to build a boat, which they built with the support of the Anunnaki technology. It was given to them by Enki. The biblical flood of Noah was copied from the Sumerian tablets. The Anunnaki left Earth, while few were remaining, watching and observing as they watched as humans and the Nephilims all drowned to death. Now, after the flood, Zauzudra and his family were the only remaining humans on Earth. After following the instructions of Enki, the Anunnaki were forced to leave Earth. These beings were getting aged and old because of the temperature of Earth. The more they stayed on Earth with human beings, the more they get old and aged. So they left Earth and gifted the human race, the human civilization. Before the Anunnaki left Earth, according to the Sumerian mythology, they built great structures. It is also believed that it was the Anunnaki who built the pyramids of Giza, Khufu, Khafra, Menkaure, the 3 pyramids of Giza behind the Sphinx. It is also believed that they built the Sphinx, the advanced structures on Earth that humans cannot build today, that humans cannot build even with their sophisticated technology. All these infrastructures, all these high structures and monuments were gifted to human beings. The Anunnaki also taught humans how to establish a governmental system. You see, the reason for teaching humans the ability to form a government was to give other humans power to rule others. The Anunnaki were the ones making other humans kings in the ancient time. These kings were loyal and submissive to the Anunnaki. Their duty was to keep humans in order and control until the Anunnaki will come back to visit their slave force. Until the Anunnaki will come back to Earth to see their workforce. the humans who were created from Homo erectus, from ape